Hello, everybody, and welcome to Choice, Change, and Action podcast. So I am with you from El Lugar in Costa Rica. So the amazing, beautiful nature reserve hotel that we have here. I'm sure you've heard about it if you've been listening to my podcast, because I feel like sometimes I'm living here. What would it take? That's an amazing place. I absolutely love it. And I have the amazing, wonderful Grace Douglas here with me today. Welcome, Grace.
Hello. Thanks for
And
having me.
you're at home at the moment?
I am at home.
So I was just actually talking about where you lived, because I haven't been there yet, and I was looking at the map the other day. It's not stalking, by the way.
No,
For a
someone's
reason.
going to visit.
But yes, anyway, soft stalking, we call it. And I was like, wow, you live in so much space. Like when I go, Grace lives in, I think you go New York, but you actually don't live in New York. You live north of New York.
Yes, I live in Westchester, so I'm about an hour and a half from New York City, but it's not suburban here. There's like everyone has lots of woods around, and there's a lot of limitations on how much you can build on your property. So, like, for example, ours, you can only build 10%.
Wow.
Of
And how big is it?
everyone around us. We have 5 acres.
Wow.
So
That's,
you
oh,
can
wow. That's beautiful.
and it
And
backs up onto a big nature reserve, which is really nice.
so it's like you've got so much. That's
Yeah.
like, I mean, here at El Lugar, I was just telling you before we clicked go live, I was really tired, and I went, I need to go to El Encanto, which is the other side of the property here. Like we have all the casitas on one side, and the other side we call El Encanto, and it's really long. And we've got our cows there. There's so many cows. Every time you go out there, there's a new baby, and it's like, damn. And horses and everything, and it's so stunning and so beautiful. And we went like in this 2.5 hour ride, and my body was just so like rejuvenated and happy. And this adventurous ride too, that you had to be so present, because you're like, oh, how are we getting down here or up here? It was amazing. But El Lugar also backs onto this massive national park, so it has the sense you have way more land
Yeah.
than what you do. Like
And
yesterday,
the wildlife is insane. Like,
oh,
I took my kids the last time we were there, and we went horseback riding as well, and, the howler monkeys and, like, all the birds we saw, and it was so cool. It's really
if
special.
Yeah. Okay. So I just learned a new app. So for anyone listening, and if you're interested in birds, which weirdly enough, I became very fascinated with birds in South Africa when we were out on safari drives looking for the big five. And there were so many birds. And that's when went, wow, these birds are amazing. And there's this app you can get called Merlin, which is a name of a bird, Merlim. And I was just doing it before, because there's so many birds around here, and you press like the record button, and it will record all the birds, so that you get, like the other day I did 50 seconds up near the restaurant here, and there was 11 birds that it recorded. And I'm like,
That's so cool.
yeah, it is. And you get to learn them rather than going, that one that sounds annoying just as I'm about to go to sleep. So, but anyway, it's so beautiful. And yesterday there was only a couple of us. So one of the cowboys, you could tell he's like, okay, I know who you are. Let's go adventuring, you know? So he took us off into this area, and there's like long grass, and we're in this section, and he was showing us where the tapirs live. And so we're sitting on our horses going, just there. And we're like, wow, okay. It was incredible. But we have so many tapirs here now. Like one's even decided to live not right here where the casitas are, but on just on this side. And
They live in the ground? I would think they live in, like, a tree to peer, right? Is that how do they
no, I think they live like in the bushes, like where he lives here, one of the guys here, or female, I think it is actually. And on the other side, it's quite long grass up to probably like my mid-thigh, and they furry.
I was thinking of the wrong animal. They're so cute.
I know. And they're usually really, really shy, but we keep spotting them. They're like, hey. So anyway, so I wanted to talk to you about a couple of different topics. And the reason why I asked Grace on here was she was doing a call a while ago, and just the way Grace was talking about choice, and we both facilitate classes called Choice for Possibilities, and it just inspired me to talk to her about this. And there's a few other things I want to ask her about today, but let's talk about like living on the land, because I love that you chose that. And I think I first met you, you were living in Santa Barbara with your dad. And then you moved to Texas and moved around. So what made you choose? And I really want everyone to get this. It's like you choose your life. You choose everything that shows up. Like how your life is right now is because that's you chose it. So what made you choose to move up north?
I think there were a lot of things. We were living in Manhattan. I had just had Grayson, my second child, and he's like very sensitive energetically, and he always had a hard time when we lived in the city when he was really little. He was always kind of fussier when we were home, and we would travel and he'd be like angel child, and so I started paying attention to that. Um, my husband and I were we wanted to buy something, and really you couldn't buy anything in New York. We could have bought like a shoebox basically for the 4 of us to live in.
With 2 kids. So basically go crazy.
Yeah. A way to like make us hate each other. And then so we did kind of the natural progression, which was looking in Brooklyn where you could get something bigger for less money. It was like moving to another city, in my opinion. And then we kind of like moved out more, and both of us grew up in more natural settings. We liked being outside. Um, and then we found this house, and it was really the property that drew us to it. It's very old. It was built in 1780. So for America, that's really, really old.
Yeah.
There was a lot that we wanted to change. And I don't know, Jan and I are both big dreamers, and we kind of just had this vision for it, and no one wanted to buy it, and we did. So it worked out wonderfully. It happened to also be the year before COVID happened. So we moved right before all the lockdowns started in New York, where you couldn't even go in an elevator. Like people were staying in their apartments and not leaving. Um, so we were very, very fortunate that we had a
You're
lot of
like, I've got 5 acres in a national park. I'm good. Please knock me down.
and like everyone, when lockdown started, we all were like separated and stuff, but we had the ability to go do things in our neighborhood that like didn't require interacting with anyone. So we were both kind of really happy with our choice at that moment, and we've been happier and happier since. So
I like that. Happy with your choice. Yeah, a mutual friend of ours, Gaia, she had this like really cute little apartment in Paris that you could see, the Eiffel Tower. And then she was like, this is not happening during lockdown. And now she lives in like on beautiful property in the south of France. Yeah, it's like, so making those choices. So I like when you said that you're really happy with your choice as well. So let's talk about parenting, because you have 2 young boys, or actually they're getting older now. Like
are
yeah,
14.
14. Wow. I'm like, how did that happen? I remember when you were pregnant with him.
I know. It feels like yesterday and feels so long ago all at the same time.
So you are I'm going to say you're a unique mother. Unfortunately, I think it's rare, and I would like to see it not be rare of the way you be in motherhood. The level of presence that I've watched that you have with your kids and empowerment is like truly a gift, an absolute gift. And I was talking to someone this morning. They have 3 kids, but they're in their 20s, I think even one's in the 30s, etc. And I was asking her questions about it, and she said, the thing that you always wanted to do was get it right. Like you just wanted to get it right. And even though the whole time you were judging yourself and you didn't know where to look, like you didn't know who to ask, or because I guess like you would see things like maybe you go, oh, my parents, and it's like, well, I definitely wouldn't. I don't have children. I had a stepson, as you know, for 8 years, but I definitely wouldn't have looked at my mother for guidance on how to be a mother. She
Oh,
didn't
wow.
exactly lead me in a nice way. My father did, absolutely, my father did. And one of the things that my father used to say to me all the time, which I think is gold, and as if you are a parent, I so highly recommend this, is he used to say to me all the time, Simone, it's your life, you need to choose. I'm here for you, but you need to choose. And the way he would really reiterate that I'm here for you was in many different forms. Like even I remember going traveling when I was 19, and he gave me a credit card that I never used, but there was something about having it on me that made me know my dad has my back. No matter where I am in the world, I could use this credit card if I had to, and that's like so financial, but also no matter how much I totally fucked up and did something, he was like, oh, Simone, he used to say to me, you are so wild. My daughter, she's so wild. He said, but I'm here for you, and he'd tell me he'd pray for me every Sunday, and I'd be like, great. But I always had that sense that I could go to him with anything, absolutely anything. Whereas my mother was like the antithesis, and she would say, I just want you to be happy, which you hear that as a kid and you're like, oh, she just wants me to be happy. How cool is that?
But
And then
what's all the energy behind it?
yeah, exactly. And then you start telling them stuff and she's like, I can't believe you did this. And I remember at 16, I think I told her I'd had sex, I'd smoked a joint and went to a pub, right? Like not all on the same night, but these were the things I told her because she kept saying, I want to know everything you're doing. And I went, okay. And then I remember her yelling at me, and from that moment I went, oh, she's lying to me. She doesn't actually want to know the truth. She wants me to lie to her. So from that moment onwards, I lied to my mom all the time, and I was really vulnerable with my dad, but we also had to make sure like she couldn't hear anything I was talking to my dad about. And if you're a parent and listening to this, I get that sense of how you think, like acting like my mom is like this right thing. Like, don't, the kid's not going to smoke pot or not going to have sex or not going to do this. And it's like, it's not true. We all go out and explore and do all these things. Whereas my dad was so different. So I see how empowering you are as a mother, Grace. And so first of all, I want to ask you, where, like, I know your parents too, and they're very different.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start being the parent you be? Let's ask that.
I think I started being the parent. I am now probably in high school when I was taking care of my friends, drinking too much and driving them home and putting them to bed. But I mean, I had Xander really young by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a big, like, it actually ended up being this like really beautiful gift for me. He kind of like opened up that side that I kept hiding from everyone, that I was nervous to like show people. I remember I was living in Texas at the time that I had him, and I used to go to this nail salon, and the woman was like, oh, you had a baby and you're so much, it's easier to connect to you or something like that.
Hmm.
And I would never have thought that I was like hard to connect to before, but I do think I had a lot of those like barriers and keeping things to myself, maybe because of how I was raised, but I don't know, all of that kind of fell away. And like, I had to be really vulnerable. I had to learn a lot. I had to look at how my mom was and how my dad was, and the things that I liked about both of them and the things that I didn't love about both of them. And I got to the point where I could like choose to do a little bit of both and then see what worked. And really with both kids, it's been really different because they are so different. So Alexander's was very easy as a child, like little, to like, you could explain things to him and be like, no, you can't have this sugar because you're going to go crazy and you have to take a nap later. And he just would go, okay, what if I have it after dinner? And it was like, there was negotiation, but there was rational negotiation. Grayson is like, if I eat all the sugar now, it'll be fine. And then he has a spiral and turns into a psychopath. So then it became having to figure out how to work with two different kids and giving them two separate rules, and they like parenting them the same but different. Um, it's been really fun for me for the most part. I get frustrated. There's hard times too. Xander's now a teenager, so like he's actually really sweet and lovely, but like he wants more freedom and he wants to do his own thing. And so
What's that like for you?
I'm happy about it. Some things are challenging just in like he's really into science and that's not really my thing. And he really likes to debate like all sorts of stuff. He said something recently about like how AI was great because um it'll take away some of the like differences between like it'll help like poor people to get better and rich people won't be able to be as like rich. And I was like, I don't agree at
I'm a
all.
little socialist.
Yeah. I'm like, he's like, he started bringing in communism and all this stuff. And I was like, I think you need to go just like read a book more, but like, we're not going to agree on this. Like, that's not how I see AI, but it's interesting that you do.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what got you to that point. Was how I tried to go with it while having to deal with all my reactions to him thinking AI is a good thing that I haven't understood yet, you know?
Yeah, but that's really cool because I can see even like how empowering that is to say, hey, how did you get to that? Like, what did you look at? Like, I was talking to my niece and nephew recently, and they hate cash.
Yeah.
They're like, it's annoying, and I'm like, oh, guys, and I'm like,
I would rather pay in cash. It feels
me
like
too,
guilt
me
to me.
too. Yeah, it's like
Tapping my card. I don't even have to like swipe it anymore. You just tap.
yeah. I know, but they're looking at the ease of it, and I'm like, yeah, but are you looking at what's behind that? And I guess that's a generational thing too. So, and I tried to explain where I was at with it, and but they look at me and go, yeah, but we don't need to do anything except take our phone. Like that's
Yeah.
it, and I get that. I mean, I didn't grow up with a phone. There was no mobile phones when I was growing up. Like I remember the first one that came along, and it was like this big box. And my family had one, and I was like, can I take it to the beach? And we took it to the beach, my friends and I, and we're like, hey, like, let's ring this. But I mean, we were probably like racking up a fortune, like ringing on the beach, but it was like the coolest thing, but we didn't grow up with that. So all these different aspects are available. And we are definitely in a different era now. We're like living this history of what it's like to become, way more digital. And we don't know what that future is going to be. So, yeah. So I like when you were saying about how you looked at both your parents and what you liked and what you didn't like, and then choosing that and educating yourself, and also two different kids. I'm wondering what you could say to people out there, because the way I hear this, Grace, is you are acknowledging that you are a source and that you are this source for gaining more awareness, gaining more knowledge, and being able to choose what it is you see in that very moment is going to create something different or greater, etc. And the ability to choose that too. I see a lot of people look outside of themselves for that answer. And I'm wondering if you can speak to that and any tools or questions you have for people listening.
I mean, I think it's like if you're using access tools, it's really acknowledging your awareness in things. When you're dealing with relationships in general, I kind of like the questions that I ask aren't just about me personally, it's more like about my whole family, like if we do this, will it create more for all of us? If we move to the country, what will it create for all of us? And
Can you
I
can you expand a bit on that for people who don't know that tool? Because that's a really, because most people go to, oh, it's going to work for my husband, or it's going to work for me, or it's going to work for the kids, and so they look at, I'm about to sacrifice something, rather than actually looking at, well, can this work for all of us?
well, I think sometimes there is a little sacrifice, but sacrifice doesn't have to be a negative in my point of view. You're looking at like what it's going to create in 5 years or 10 years, and you're kind of asking for what that energy is going to do and create and how it can contribute to all of your businesses, your bodies, your schools, whatever you're looking for. I mean, my husband Jan has to drive an hour and a half to his office now. He doesn't, but now he doesn't go every day. It actually kind of changed his relationship with work, and he sees it as his time to like engage on the way in and
Mm.
disengage on the way out.
I got that when you said that. It's almost like he's got some downtime, even though he's driving.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's not always the most pleasant drive. Sometimes it annoys him, but he gets home and he's kind of like let go of his day of work by the time he
yeah.
gets here, and then he's here with the kids. Um, and it took time to get there, but ultimately that's created more for all of us. Um, it's more work in some ways, and it's created a lot more in other ways. So there's like, just because it's going to create more doesn't mean it is always easy. And
So,
that's what I think people forget. Like, you're looking to create more based on an energetic ask, maybe.
mhm.
And like, sometimes there's a lot that you have to do to get there.
So let's talk about the future. And because as you chose to live, north, I'm just saying north of New York, that's my Australian.
Yeah.
North of New York in the woods, that's my. um, but as you chose that, and I mean, it's creating a future. You're buying a house, right? You've got the kids there, you've got your husband there, etc. How important do you think it is to perceive the energy of the future by your choices, and what questions or tools would you use in order to have that as a reality?
I think it's definitely important. Um, I I would say the easiest access tool to like start with is just
Yeah.
light and heavy. So it's like the something that's light kind of
Mm.
makes your body sing, makes your universe expand. You can like literally perceive the energy get bigger. Or and then sometimes there's like, I guess you would call it a contraction in the energy, and that's like the heavier thing. But
Well,
some people
let's
experience it different.
let's look at this for a second then too, because the way you spoke previously about like wanting to buy something. So that's the choice. We want to buy something. Okay. Then the way you made a joke about like we could buy a shoebox in Manhattan. But if you look at this, if you're listening to this, everyone, just perceive, you might not even know Grace. You might know Grace, but perceive the energy of if her and her husband and her two kids bought a shoebox in Manhattan. It's like, oh, would she still be married? Would she be an alcoholic? I don't know. It's like, do you know what I mean? Like what would have occurred versus you can perceive the sense of space and the ease. And like you said, it's not always easy. There's some hurdles that you've got to jump over, but that's life. And that's how life works out. How are you going to jump over the hurdles, you know?
We would have had them in our shoebox in Manhattan too. They just would have
Yeah.
been different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But there's so much more space to what you chose.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, it was just the life that we were both looking to create together. So we were lucky that we were both looking to create the same thing, and like we could agree on it. Um, I don't know what else I would suggest people to use, because I think you get too in your head, and that's what stops the creative process. So things I like try to trick myself and I like flip a coin, and then I go, "Oh wait, that's not really what I wanted." Or I with my kids sometimes, if they're choosing like to do two different things, I go, okay, this one or this one, what's going to create more? And then they have to just like do it based on the energy. And I'm like, okay, that's what this was. Is that what you want to do?
So if you're listening now, Grace just used a tool that I use all the time, and I call it hands. It's like do hands, right? So she just went this one and put the energy of a choice in one hand, or this one and the energy of a choice in another hand. I've made some major choices with hands because, like you said, it tricks yourself because you're thinking, oh, this, this, you know, this is the right choice, and you build this evidence to go, this is what I should be choosing, and then you do hands, and something pops up, and you either go, yay, or you go, oh. It's like you know instantaneously which one is actually going to be more joyful, more ease, or whatever it is you're asking for.
But sometimes when you're asking a question like, what's going to create more? And you get the one that's like, look at, ask another question and see like why it's going to create more, or just do it and see what it creates. Because sometimes there is stuff you have to do that's not always easy and pleasant and joyful.
Very well
From your
put,
point of
Kate.
view.
Yeah. And thank you for the reminder. Yeah, that's very well put, because so often, you know, we're asking for something to show up, but you actually need to take some action, and you need to maybe have a conversation that is a hard conversation, or do something you haven't done before, you know, have some trust in yourself, your body, your financial choices, all of it. So yeah, thank you. That's a really cool reminder. I like that. I'm going to take that on board. Because you do. It's like, yeah, the one, oh, that would be the easiest, but is it actually going to create something different?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's swing down that road again of the parenting. And I mean, God, I remember when I was, you know, I never wanted to have kids. I never wanted to get married or have kids. It was just not in my, you know, world. And all of a sudden, when I was in a relationship, and I ended up with a 5-year-old, and I remember saying to my ex one day, he came home and I was crying on the bed, and he was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "I don't know if I can do this." And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "I don't know if I want to live like this. Like, I don't know if I want to like live with you and have all of this." And I said, I didn't ask for a 5-year-old, you know. And he looked at me and he said, "Well, I sort of come with one." It came with a 5-year-old and a dog. And he said, "I can move out," because we were ended up living together. And he said, "I can move out. We don't have to break up." And I was like, okay. And I really started to look at it. And then the one thing I that helped me was I had to establish I have a relationship with the man. I have a relationship with the dog too. Like, that was completely different.
Yeah.
And then I have a relationship with his son, which was my stepson. And I had to make sure that those three were not sort of lumped together. And I wanted really to honor my stepson. And I used to say to him, "Hey, what do you want me to be for you?" You know, because I wasn't coming in going, "Now I'm your stepmom, blah, 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 blah." But I also was trying to be a good parent, and it drove me nuts. Like, I remember at one point, just asking him, like, it was like getting his hair cut or something. And he kept saying to me, "But why do I need to get my hair cut?" And I couldn't come up with something really good. And then I eventually just went, "You know what? I'm done." And I was like, "Whatever, don't get your hair cut. Like, it's fine." And the next day he came into me and he was like, "Simone," he went, "Do you think we could book an appointment for me to get my hair cut?" And I was like, "Just happened." But I noticed as soon as I would let go of everything and have no point of view and be an allowance, like, as long as he wasn't in danger, I would just let go. It gave him this freedom to have a look at what he wanted to choose. And it's like you couldn't, I don't know, read about that in a book or even have that around. And it was definitely Gary Douglas, founder of Access Consciousness, your dad, who taught me so much, because I would ring him and just be like, "Oh my God." And that whole, like, what if you were being a bad parent? And I was like, okay, I'll give that a shot, because I already think I am. So
Might as well do it.
may as well just put that into action. Yeah. So can you talk to me a little bit about like that whole parenting thing of trying to get it right? Like, what if you weren't trying to get it right?
I don't think there is getting it right with parenting. Like, your kids actually have so much influence on their lives. And I mean, nowadays there's a lot of like gentle parenting is the term that they use, where you don't yell, they don't get in trouble.
What's your point of view of that?
I don't think it's realistic because
Mm.
you go out in the world and you hear no constantly. So, like, if you have never heard no before, you're going to have a really hard time going out into
Mm.
like this reality.
Yeah.
Um, and I have definitely struggled with those moments of like saying no. I remember bursting into tears once, like a lot of other stuff was going on, but because I told Alexander that he couldn't buy he wears glasses and he wanted like a really fancy pair of glasses. And I said no. And I was like, it's not happening. Like he was like 10. And and I went home, got the kids inside, and then I called my dad too, because I do that too, and I'm crying, and I'm like, "Why do I feel so bad saying no to him? They were $600." And he's like, um, "Well, what if instead of saying no, just say, I'm not buying them for you, but if you would like to buy them, you can use your own
Mm.
money." Like, put it into his court.
Yeah.
Let him choose if he's willing to invest it in himself. And so I did that, and he refused to spend his own money on it, and I was like, "So then you don't actually want them. Let's go buy some in the budget I'm giving you."
Yeah. Brilliant.
And so I think that, like, the whole real gentle parenting where, like, you don't yell and you don't doesn't fully work, but there are a lot of things that you can do that encourage your kids to find their own way and figure things out and ask for what they want and work towards it. Um, Grayson, on the other hand, is like, if I'm like, "I'm not buying it," you have to you can spend your own money on it, whether it's birthday money or Christmas money or money that we, like, pay him to do something for. Um, he's like, "Okay, I'll spend my own money. Can I take you out to lunch too?" Like, he's super generous,
Oh, I love it.
so cute with it, and Xander's
Yeah.
like, "Nope, I'll live without."
Right. Oh, I love it. So you just said something there too, which I'm going to call it bribery, because I think it's a really big thing, and people go, "Oh, you can't bribe your kids." Yes, you can. Like, yes, you can. And
If it
can
makes
you talk
life easier, you should probably do it.
exactly? Yes. Can you talk about that and how to manipulate your kids, like, or a story or something that you've had going on with your kids?
Um, I've had a few different throughout, like, time. Recently, I tried to bribe Grayson into something so stupid. I He wears the same size shoe as a friend of ours, Gaia,
Yeah.
and I found these shoes for her at a resale store, and I was like, "Put them on so I can take a picture." And he was like, "No, they're for girls. I'm not doing it." And I was like, "I'll pay you. I'll try." And he was like, "Nope, won't do it." Like, that was his no-fly zone.
Right.
Um, so that's the time that it didn't work.
I love it. I love
Usually
it. And, like you go in 20 years time, he's like, wearing high heels. When did it start? When my mother bribed me to
can you imagine? It's like lifelong trauma I probably would have created for
Yeah.
him,
But
but
he seems to know I like the way he knows what he would like, and the
yeah,
generosity of spirit that comes with it, but also, no, you're not
you
gonna
can't
convince me to
convince
do
him,
something. Money's not gonna be what makes him do something or not do something, basically.
which is great. I'm
Mm.
really like, it's really cool to see how strong he is in his convictions.
Yes.
Um, Alexander, when he was really little, he loved the color green, and he loved this character on PJ Masks called Gecko, and he, like, wanted to be Gecko, and it's how I got him to eat, like, anything green. I fully lied to him and said he would turn into Gecko. He's really great with vegetables still, but, like, it got him over that kid thing of being
Yeah.
like, "I don't want broccoli or green beans or whatever the green thing was. And I was like, what do you think geckos eat?
Green food.
Green food. It's what makes them green.
Okay, I need to tell a little funny sidebar story now that you said that. I was with this friend of mine. It was just a while ago. We were up north in Queensland, and we were just sitting outside. Beautiful summer's evening, just really peaceful, quiet. Having a cocktail, and we're just sitting outside, like no music, just the sound of everything. Lots of geckos on the wall and everything. Just lovely. And then I go inside. We're at this Airbnb, and I go inside, and there's this little baby gecko, in the kitchen. And I go, "Hey, come here." And I was like, "Why don't I let you know? Oh, let me help you. Like, I'll grab you and I'll take you outside to where all your family are. Like all the other geckos." So I do that, capture him, and put him on the wall, little baby gecko. And we're sitting there, and we both went, "I wonder what geckos eat." We didn't know to ask you, green vegetables. We Googled it, and some of what geckos eat is baby geckos. And we were just like, "Oh, we've just taken this baby gecko who's made his way into the kitchen thinking, I did it." And we're just like, no, come out here. You're going to be somebody else's dinner. So geckos eat baby geckos too. There you go.
A lot of animals do that as like a natural herd selection, like
Right.
keeping the herd small. A lot of amphibians especially do that.
Eat little baby geckos.
There's
So
a
what
very
about
interesting book called Cannibalism that talks about it.
There you go. You never know what you're going to get on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have the links to that in the subscribe notes below. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about homework and education with your kids. It's like, how do you guide your kids through that, or what would you advise?
I feel very fortunate. Both of them are like have a really easy time with school, and I didn't have it, so I'm exceptionally grateful to like the school that they go to that has encouraged them so much. Um, I I mean, when I was like homeschooling Xander for COVID, it was a little rough, and
Were you good at it?
I don't know, he was in 2nd grade, like, it wasn't that hard. They
Right.
were also like everyone's like, "What are we doing?"
Right. Yeah.
So, there was stuff that he missed, like, he didn't learn how to write, cursive,
Uh-huh.
and I just didn't have the energy to force him to,
Yeah.
and he actually taught himself last summer how to do it, so he's very self-motivated, and I put them both in Montessori schools because when I was thinking about all my friends who had a really easy time with school and who did really well, they actually all went to preschool at Montessori, and some went through Montessori for the whole
Hmm.
elementary school. And I saw that it was like, it's all based on the children wanting to learning it in like 10 different ways. They learn geometry physically, but also abstract later. So they start younger with like the blocks and everything, and then they work to numbers and letters, and then they go on and on. So I think that helped both of them because it made them go like, "Oh, I can do my work and it's not a bad thing."
Yeah.
Um, I had Xander had a tutor for a while that I adored, and he was at one point like, "Why don't you like he knows how to do it, he knows how to do it. He won't sit down and write the math himself, but like if he gives you the answers, just write it for him." And so I did that for like a week, and then he like started going on, and I did it with Grayson at one point. Grayson's very hyperactive, so he's like running around the table,
Hmm.
and I'm yelling out math facts, and he's just like writing, he's telling me what to write, and I just wrote them down for him. And now they both do their homework without being asked to. There's no fight. There's always like
Yeah.
they just get it done. And Xander loves getting good grades, so that helps. He likes that. They're like a little competitive, so they like that. Uh, Grayson's so young, he doesn't really get grades. They're like, he's 9, but they're like you can read, you can write, you can do math.
Yeah.
He needs to be at a certain level, and then they're fine. So,
He's so different though. Like you can see I mean, even I haven't seen them in a while, but you can perceive the energy of how your two kids are so different. It's going to be interesting to see where they are, in 10,
mhm.
20, 30, 40, 50 years time. So, yeah.
I think Xander right now really wants to go the academic route. I don't know if Grayson will. Like, I'm
Mm,
not sure if university will be a big thing for him, but for Xander it is. He's already talking about it, and he's not even in high school. So, like, I'm just trying to support both of them where they are.
yeah.
And I don't know, I trick Grayson a lot. Like, he'll sit down to do his math and he's like, "What's 42 minus 12?" And I'm like, "47." And he goes, "No, it's not." And then he'll like write the real answer and he's like, "You're so stupid." And like, I try to make it fun for them and fun for me because sitting down and yelling at them about their homework actually drains the life out of me.
No, I love the fact that you were talking about, because there is so many kids who are just more hyper. And, how many times have they been told, sit down and do your homework, like rather than run around and answer these? I love that. There was, here's another quick, I think, funny story is not at the time. There's apps that you can get, and I'm dropping my stepson to school, doing school drop off, which I remember talking to my PR agent, and I was like, hang on, I'm just doing school drop off. And she went, bet you thought you'd never be doing that. I was like, nope. And but anyway, we're playing this math app on the way to school, right? And he was 8, and I remember, because I was always bad at math. Like, I failed math. I wasn't that great at it, And I know now actually why I wasn't good at it, because I wasn't interested. And then I went out when I left school and started businesses, and all of a sudden when I needed it for business, I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
So, which is the lie that you tell yourself at school. I was just bored. I didn't want to do it. But however, I did win on this math app. And I remember going and telling my ex and going, hey, I just beat, Nash on this app. And he was like, great, you beat an 8-year-old. And I was like, well, when you put it like that, I was like,
But Jan and I have this all the time. He went to play tennis with Xander and his friend, and he's like, "I'm gonna go beat the 14-year-olds." And I'm like, "Isn't it a little weird how much joy we get from like
yeah,
winning?" And he's like, "I have to take it while I can because one day they will beat me."
yes.
And I was like, "This is very true."
I remember one time Nash was convincing us to play Monopoly, and we were like, okay, we'll play Monopoly, right? So we're playing Monopoly, and it's just getting really competitive. And it was like after midnight, and Nash just got his head like almost like passing out on the table, and he's going, I'm really tired. And we're like going, one more round. Like we were getting, and then we looked at each other and we were like, what are we doing? It's like, this is like our kid wants to go to sleep, and we're like, come on, But then you know what he did? He won. And I looked at him and I went, how'd you do that? And he said, I watched what you did and what dad did. And I watched the mistakes you made and didn't make them. And I watched what you did that worked. And I chose that. And I was like, brilliant. And I
Yeah.
was like, well done, Yeah.
And then you're
So,
like, "I hope you do that forever."
yes, exactly. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Weirdly, I want to ask you one last question about parenting, and that's to do with, I want to say fashion.
Mhm.
Like, how do you deal with that with your kids? Because kids go through so many different phases and choices.
I mean, all the clothes that I've saved for like that were Xander's, Grayson doesn't even wear. I don't know why I bothered. I was like, they're totally different children. Um, they have gone through so many phases. They each had this phase of like dressing up really fancy, and I
Mhm.
was so for it. Um, and then Grayson has had more phases than Xander. Xander for years wouldn't wear real pants, and so I just like let him wear sweatpants.
Right.
And every once in a while I'd be like, okay, we're having a nice dinner, you have to wear something that's nice. And so he'd put on like a button down shirt with his sweatpants. I don't know, I kind of just let them.
You're like, "I'll take it."
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, as long as we're leaving and we're on time and you're clean, I think I'm good.
Yes.
And but Grayson, like, they both love getting dressed up still. Grayson at one point only liked wearing really tight pants, so he wore like girls' leggings. and he specifically loved these leopard print leggings. And there's been moments with him because he's so just like, I'm going to do this and I love it, that I have to really look at myself and be like, okay, what is my point of view and am I going to let him do it?
Right.
He wanted some gold boots once. And Xander looked at me and he goes, "You're not going to let him wear those, are you?" And I was like, "Now I am." Thank you so much.
I
Yes.
love it. The older brother. Yeah.
Because Xander's like very conservative,
Yeah.
likes like he basically only wears navy. And Grayson's like pink swirly rainbow shorts and like I don't know, he still likes leopard print. He loves his leather jacket. He plays electric guitar, so he like when he's playing with his band, he wears like very rocker style clothes and like for a long time when he was little, I think it was like a sensory thing. He would wear gloves all the time, inside and outside,
Uh-huh.
like winter
Wow.
gloves.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would sleep with them. They were really gross.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did he ever say why? Like what he
No,
was.
just I never really made it a thing.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I love about raising kids now is that it doesn't have to be a thing. Like,
Yeah.
even at school, they're kind of, like, embracing it. Kids don't really tease each other as much as they used to, at least
Yeah,
where we
there's a lot more choice available.
yeah,
Like, I
people are
like that.
kinder.
I hope so.
I mean, at least I feel like I live in La La Land, but even in the
You
city
do. I've looked at it on Google Maps. It's like amazing. I was like, damn, girl. Yeah.
um, but even in the city, like, Xander's best friend, when we lived there, he wore, like, gold lame pants and glitter shoes, and he was a boy. It was
Nice.
just like and no one really said anything.
But as you're talking about like this friend and then about Grace and stuff like that, over the years ago, people would have gone, oh, he's probably going to be gay. Like that's what they'd go to. But it's not. I mean, he could be, it's a choice. But what the energy and the awareness that comes out more so as you talk is the creativity.
Mhm.
And it's like, how much did we stifle kids' creativity by not letting them choose as they, grow up?
Yeah.
Let them go through the phases. My God, I've gone through phases. I remember
Yeah.
doing after actually I traveled to India. I mean, this was much later, but I traveled to India and I just had such a point of view about the Western world and how, the Western world live and there's people in India and blah, blah, blah. So I had no shoes and I used to wear a bindi on my head and these long flowing skirts and long hippie, blouse. And I would wear no shoes anywhere. And I was like, what was I trying to prove living in Australia? This thing, but the fact that you can actually explore something that you're aware of and find out, oh, what does this work? Or what is this, is my body happy in this? Or what reaction am I looking for? Or what possibilities are available when I choose this? It's like, that is so empowering for kids to choose it and find out. Like, choose it. Just choose
Try
it.
it.
Yeah. Give it a shot. Like, I'm here. I got you, I think for me, Grace is one of the most important things. Like I spoke about at the beginning of this podcast, the fact that I knew my father had me.
Mhm.
Like no matter what, no matter if I showed up drunk, I'd taken drugs, I'd had sex, I'd smoked, and nothing. I was his daughter, and he was there for me, And I think that is the most powerful, potent thing that you can be for a child, is letting them know, I got you.
I agree. And like that it's okay to make mistakes.
Yes.
And it's okay to try things and do things and
Yeah.
I'm entering the phase of like teenagehood, so we'll see what Xander chooses with that. And I'm kind of like, if you choose it, because I
like
don't think that he necessarily will be interested in like drugs and alcohol. That's not
Yeah.
him. But I'm like, tell me, please. I can't actually advise you or give you any input, but because I never did it. I drank, but I never did drugs. So like I try to be as open as possible while being like, I don't approve of this. Like, I don't think you should do it.
Yeah, I've
People
got,
around you are going to do it.
yeah, my niece and nephew, I better be careful what I say here. Um, anyway, I went out and had breakfast with them, and some stuff had happened with my nephew, and Ellen was telling me, my niece, and then James is like, Ellen, and she said, James, it's fine. I've told Auntie Simone everything. She doesn't tell anyone, and she's always there for us, you know. And I was like, okay. And I looked at him, I was like, it's true. And I was like, whatever you need, like, I'm here, I got you. But it, you know, obviously I'm not going to go into what we were talking about because we're on a podcast, and that would be breaking the auntie, niece and nephew seal. But it was really cool for, like, she really acknowledges I have helped her. She's 22 now, and I've helped her a lot with a lot of different things that she's chosen, and just being there for her to be able to go, hey, this just happened. You know, I'm like, okay, no matter what, we've got this.
That's
So
amazing.
Grace, this has been amazing. This has been awesome. I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you today. And, you know, I mean, we've covered choice and parenting, etc. And you do have a class coming up, which I will put in the show notes. It's with Gary. That's correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's with Gary.
You
And
wanted to do it with me. I was like, what?
that's so cool. I'm just trying to find the dates. Here it is. It's the 15th to the 18th of May. So this will be out just before then, which is brilliant. Didn't realize I was doing that. Conscious Parents, Conscious Kids. And I highly recommend, highly recommend this class. And you don't actually have to receive. So, I mean, I'm sure as you've been listening to this podcast, you've also received more out of this, because I think the way you deal with your kids is also the way you deal with other people. So, because a lot of the times we tend to, you know, choose to have people in our lives that make us feel comfortable. Well, what if there's a whole mixture out there, and these tools that we've just spoken about is how you deal with other, you know, people as well. So I highly recommend that. And is there anything else you want to mention, Grace, before we leave?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for being here. Please share it, write a review, do all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.